Good Sunday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now, tracking a dangerous weather situation, it would seem, across parts of our viewing circle. You can see several warnings here on the board. One of those, including Tallahassee, where the warning issued here within the last 9-10 minutes, and getting a gust already to 51 or so miles an hour at the Tallahassee airport, 45 knots. So again, a nasty situation developing right now in Leon County. We have several different complexes. We're watching really three different areas seemingly kind of sticking out at us right now. So let's go ahead and zoom on in. You can kind of see right here around Tallahassee, we have one area that's really in play that's given gusts here to close to severe, may cause some damage. I know this complex further out toward the west is the one that's a little bit more concerning in terms of the warning issuance. But I mean, this area right now is in play over you guys around Tallahassee. So you need to make sure you're inside, away from windows. It's always the type of scenario here where the leading accident could weaken the accident further back. So we just need you guys to go ahead and get inside and get away from windows right now around Tallahassee. Several areas under a warning, including an area here east of Perry. Been watching a little weak rotation trying to develop over the last few scans. It looks like it's kind of broadened out some here, weakened out, because it was getting a little bit concerning there for a moment as it was moving out of Perry there, kind of trying to tighten up. We haven't had any tornado warnings, but we were kind of seeing a situation here where something was trying to get going for a couple of scans there, a couple volume scans, but luckily not getting a tornado warning or anything like that in play. But always got to be careful here, just in case they try to get a little bit more aggressive here in terms of the overall radar signatures. But no damage reports so far. We'll look back to the west. That's about in our area that I've seen. I'll keep looking though. We've seen stuff out toward the west, but you can see here we have this warning area here that includes parts of, it looks like Roy, the Big Bend region, Gadsden County there in play, as would Northern Liberty, Leon, Decatur, Grady, and Central Seminole, all the way to 415, but we already had the leading accident here that's really evolved right over Tallahassee. So you can't mess around whenever that thunder roar's going towards. Make sure you're getting as many walls between you and the outside as possible if you can here. I know it's not a tornado situation, but those winds picking on up here for sure. 237 instead of thunderstorm is located 11 miles north of Blountstown, moving east at 25. But again, a storm right over Tallahassee already at the airport, getting the gust there. So you can't be messing around is kind of the storyline in play here. But Tallahassee, Woodville, Florida State University, as well as Tallahassee Community College, Quincy, Havana, Blountstown, Bainbridge, Midway, Florida A&M, over Cairo, Whigham, Doak Campbell Stadium, Chattahoochee, Greensboro, West Bainbridge, Sneads, Gretna, Bristol, and Grand Ridge under this warning. So things are pretty active, pretty nasty here on this Sunday. Folks are trying to enjoy their day. And we had a bunch of thunder rumbling around the Stark area earlier on. The worst going toward Florida. Got about a tenth of an inch of rain from the leading axis, but didn't really get any rain on that secondary around here that was really measuring on our rain gauge. Again, just continuing to watch things here this afternoon. So that's your area here toward Tallahassee. We have that warning back toward the west that continues for parts of Gadsden and Liberty, and then early in Seminole until about 3:15. Some of that's kind of overlapping there, but we'll kind of see that viewpoint. And then you have the warning to the east here that goes until about 3:30. It looks like for portions of Lafayette County here, northwestern Lafayette, as well as northeastern Taylor, over toward southeastern Madison County. So Mayo, Perry, over toward Chancey, Boyd, Smith, Hopewell, Mayo, Judson, Townsend. You kind of get the idea. Some of those communities involved in this. So just got to be kind of careful. And we had that rotation kind of developed there that was concerning. It was really as it moved out of Perry. I mean, we didn't really have, the worst, it didn't seem maximized over Perry. We would have jumped on if we would have seen that. But north of town here, we saw some gusty winds again. We haven't had any tornado warnings, so our policy to be on for a tornado warning. But I'm just kind of reviewing the radar. Both radars were showing this type of rotation here. They were showing the rotation. It's an interesting situation. just kind of interesting to watch here for sure. So just gonna go ahead and kind of go forward in the scan. You can see right there around that was 2:35 or so. We started to see some greens and reds here east of town, but both vendors were showing that rotation. It was visible from both, so that's kind of storyline there. So you can see there US 27 in play. That's a little while ago, and then maybe a little more visible from the other, but that's still interesting to see there on our scans. It's always got to be kind of careful here in these type of situations. But again, just checking some things here. You can see some gusty winds right around Tallahassee, right around those very important places there in town, like FSU, FAMU, and TCC. So keep that in mind. Just got to be really careful here this afternoon. We'll go ahead and get back on over here. On our scan. That's a lot of wind further out, a little more organized, seeing winds of 55, setting up on velocity. So we'll hope that the round in front kind of weakens things, but not necessarily going to be the case here. We just have to be kind of careful, kind of monitoring things here with these warnings in play. We have some storminess toward Jacksonville as well that we've been tracking here closer toward the First Coast. So let me go ahead and kind of broaden our view out. We'll go to our GeoEarth computer right now. You can see we have some storminess around St. Augustine. So whenever you hear that thunder roar, you want to go indoors. So again, we're just going to go ahead and keep watching things here. I know there's no formal risk of severe weather today, but just always got to remain on guard. I know different storm in the northeast. They've had a tornado watch in play that's set to expire here pretty soon. We'll see if there's any type of extensions with that. But just the thunder rumble in here, St. Augustine, there, St. Johns County there. So we'll continue to watch things. But further out toward the west, we have the warning in play for parts of looks like over toward Lafayette County. Lafayette County, depending on how you want to pronounce that, it's Lafayette, but northeastern Taylor and southeastern Madison counties until about 3:30. So again, tracking the 60-mile-an-hour wind gust here in play as we get further back off toward the west here. Again, I see in Tallahassee in the line of concern per se, multiple rounds of concern for Tallahassee. Round 1 is happening now, but round 2 will be moving in here over the next little bit, so gotta be keeping that in mind here. Let's go ahead and pull up our instability values. They're almost off the chart, over 5,000 joules per kilogram there today. That's a lot. That's not what you want to see on the mapping. That's a lot of energy for the storms to work with here today, more than we typically see here. So could kind of make it a longer or a little bit more significant severe day than we generally would see. Kind of surprising now this high of an instability value scenario around the region and not have some type of formal risk. But that's the storyline that we're in right now. So again, I'm being told here by the chat system that there's been some thunderstorm wind damage reported there in Chattahoochee and Gadsden County. A tree knocked down, according to the fire department near Chattahoochee. That was from about 10 minutes ago. So gotta be really careful here. Right on the edge of that one warning there that's been in play further out toward the west. So again, just gonna keep watching things. Gonna keep watching things here in the weather center. We'll go ahead and zoom back out again. There's that icon there in parts of Gadsden County. We'll go ahead and zoom around here just a little bit. You'll be able to see what's going on here. These temperatures in toward the 90s in spots. I mean, other spots rain cold in toward the 80s. You see 81 toward the Keystone area. Gonna look back behind me here. We're down in the 70s for east of Stark, 77. By the way, they said 52 officially on that gust there. I know our system said 51, but the rounding of that notch there to miles an hour gives it 52 at 2:39. So again, some nasty weather may be causing some power outages now around Tallahassee still. So gotta keep that in mind here this afternoon trying to give you the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family here. Live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So, again, a nasty scenario ongoing here. I know bigger storylines overall nationally in the Northeast with like flooding and that tornado risk, but still some problems here in spots. I know looking at power outage numbers right now, not too many yet on the power outage US map for Leon County, but I'm going to keep watching things, going to keep looking at things. I know I want to go ahead and go to the city of Tallahassee map because that'll update a little bit more frequently for us. And there are a few outages on that. 249 customers in the dark, so again, I'm going to keep watching things here in the Weather Center right now. Luckily for us here, this has nothing to do with the tropics or anything like that in terms of any tropical development. We have a system we're watching in the Pacific, though. Calvin could be an issue in the Central Pacific or Hawaii. We look at that here, that's toward midweek. Later on, we may have to watch something in the tropics here. Some of our longer range guides now starting to pick up on something in the Atlantic, but we're pretty far out in that. They don't want to get into too many details. Things can change here quite a bit in those type of timelines. But again, going to go and zoom back on out a little bit. You can see here these yellow boxes, severe thunderstorm warnings, indicative of gusts to 60 miles an hour, a possibility. And when you have those type of gusts possible, that means you could be in a situation where power outages are a little more likely, trees being knocked down here. That is more likely, and not the scenario here where you're getting limbs to knock out the power. In some of these situations, you're getting these full trees to fall, and that can really be dangerous and not deadly here in some isolated spots where we have the unfortunate situations arise. So warnings till 3:30, parts of Fayette, Taylor, and Madison counties there in play right now. So looking toward 4:15 for parts there of our area further back, Gadsden, Liberty, Leon, Decatur, Grady, and Seminole. So that's a long, long fuse to warn. Another one to about 3, looks like 3:15 here Eastern, parts of Liberty, Gadsden, as well as the Southwest Georgia communities. Like it would seem getting on over there toward early in Seminole. So again, I'm going to keep watching things. I know back 2021, I know a real unfortunate situation arose in North Jackson, someone else tree. Unfortunately, it killed someone there during the storm, and as that was moving on through, those winds picking on up. We don't want trees to be falling here with people out and about today. We already had that happen, it seemed, to some degree, at least in Alabama. So gotta be really careful here. Gotta be really careful as we're looking at things in our latest scans. I know the report out of Alabama outside of our viewing area. It was a Geneva County's 911 call center reporting in 1 mile west of Slocum at 12:56 Central. A tree fell on a car on County Road 85. Injuries were unknown at that time. I gotta hope everybody's all right there. Haven't heard anything else since then. But again, we're on the air right now live. YouTube at Cloud's Weather. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button there, make sure you do that. And make sure you have that bell icon there in play as well, where you're getting all the notifications. What I mean by that is hit the drop down there on that, depending on what you're on, and you'll be able to see the different options. Make sure you have all the notifications on so you're able to get information. You get information here, all that comes on out when we're doing our lives with the coverage. You're notified that we're coming on. So again, watching things here, tracking things in the Weather Center. We're going to go ahead and zoom back on out. And we have a warning there on Dothan as well, but it's not in our area. It does include parts of Houston as well. It looks like areas there of Dale and Henry counties until about 2:30 Central. That could be an issue when that's up toward Blakely here next little bit, so we'll watch it. We'll watch progress of that there as it kind of moves on in. But again, just continuing to watch things here on our latest scans. We do that history now of some issues since in our area, since we had that report in Gadsden. We had stuff outside of the area, but now within the area. So that's always problematic here when you're starting to have some damage reports come on in here within our 62 counties. So under that map there, covered area available at cloudweather.com/live. Looking here at some more information, U.S. numbers. We're looking at those. We're also looking at this, the maps, your city of Tallahassee utility there. So on 274 customers in the dark, getting on over right now to, it looks like, our Talquin map here. Let's go ahead and pull that up. So we're talking about 73 customers in the dark on Talquin. So that's a little bit over there, 300, getting about 350 there in terms of the customers that are without electricity right now. So again, we're live right now here on this Sunday afternoon. We don't go live for all severe thunderstorm warnings, especially this time of year. We're trying to use a little more discretion this time of year because they happen so much more often. Some of them verify, some don't. And some are, so you kind of are expecting nasty weather, and some of them you have the lighting around, you don't get warnings, and then it's still dangerous. So it kind of is a broad line, but we've jumped over that broad line here, and that's what we have to be on right now here on the different platforms to keep you, your friends, and your family safe and informed. I know we're not on clutter.com/radar for an interactive look at things, but things have kind of crossed over that line here where we need to be on right now to protect you, your friends, and your family. So that's what we're dealing with right now. I know we're always on for tornado warning situations, but severe thunderstorm warnings here in our 62 counties is something that we track here, that potential when it comes into play, but things are a little more aggressive here based on some of our different algorithms. So gotta keep watching things, and they're looking off toward the east here. Let's switch to the Moody radar. I think that might be a good move here. Get that latest scan, that latest assessment, and there's a significant weather advisory as we're looking over a couple, actually, one over Hamlin, another over Suwannee County there, and those are for winds of, it looks like 45 to 55, 45 to 50 in the southern one, but again, gonna keep looking at things. They might extend things off. Jacksonville office in charge of issuing to the east here, so we'll have to see what they decide to do or not decide to do in terms of maybe issuing a warning here. So we'll be tracking that. Getting back over toward the west here, we're gonna look toward Tallahassee. Gonna look over toward Tallahassee, see some more signatures here, some nasty wind there. I mean, it kind of, the accent gets obscured a little bit because we're right at the radar. Let me go ahead and go to a different mode and you'll be able to see what we're talking about here. Some heavy rain there. This is a more composite type mode just for a moment to kind of show that. And then further back to the west, we have more accent coming on in here. More wind energy coming on in toward the picture here. Look at that little area there right around State Road 12, south of Greensboro. There in our Big Bend region. So in wind enhancement, that's going to be eventually there getting over State Road 65, and then also State Road 267, even a little bit further out. Stuff's moving here, not real fast, but fast enough to kind of catch you off guard. East at 25 miles an hour. So again, I gotta keep that in mind here. This tricky stuff here in the summertime. I know you get tired of these warnings here, you get tired of the threats. We have to warn you guys when things escalate a little bit more like they're doing right now. That escalation here across our area on this Sunday afternoon. So again, just checking all our different scans here. Looking at everything, kind of taking it all into account. And that's what we're on right now on the different platforms. So, gonna go ahead and keep checking some of our different sources here. I know it's always important to do that. Looking here at our power outage numbers now, City of Tallahassee, up to 349 customers in the dark now. And Talquin, we're up to 80, it looks like, customers without electricity. So, I know they expired one of the warnings to the west, but that was the overlapping one there. It did clear a little bit of our covered area there around Donaldsonville. That sliver, but we'll keep watching things, keep tracking them. I mean, that warning technically still goes for another few moments, but it just goes away once they drop that there and play. with the threat kind of going down to some degree. But again, we'll just keep looking at that. That's a really nasty wind enhancement, though, going on right there, right over State Road 12. About to be moving over Florida 65 here over the next little bit. We're talking about Gadsden County with that, but again, right over Tallahassee, we're getting some nasty weather. I suspect some folks are seeing, or at least hearing, some trees kind of have some problems here, maybe snap even in some of the strongest gusts here. I know sometimes these gusts, they verify, sometimes they don't verify. You don't even have to have warning sometimes for damage to occur here across the area. So again, this time of year is a kind of a fine line between coming on, not coming on, versus other times of year when we have stuff that's a little less often. The squall lines and a little bit more in the way of just you need to be on because things are not what you would expect here. But this time of year, a different story. But things have upped the ante here enough with the algorithms in terms of the storminess that we're seeing down toward the surface that we have to be on to protect you, your friends, and your family. So again, looking up toward the Dothan area right now. They are expiring, canceling actually that warning for Dale Henry and Houston, so that's some good news. I know the radar down at Fort Rucker makes it a little hard, but we have 2 warnings in our area then. 2 warnings with this area here, moving toward it looks like some of the worst moving in toward Mayo here over the next few moments in parts of Lafayette County there. So again, we're just going to keep watching things there around Mayo there. Some pretty nasty weather coming on in. When that thunder roars, you want to go indoors. So, and just have that gusty wind action, obviously, that can be significant here at times as we're bouncing between radar scans right now. Again, I see in this area of wind enhancement that's really well defined. 50-mile-an-hour severe winds showing up here south of Greensboro, just south of Greensboro. And then these winds here, folks, they're moving in this general direction. So Midway, Northfleet, I mean, even Tallahassee possibly here over the next little bit. Gotta be careful with these more organized winds coming in. We've already seen some folks lose power. We could have more folks lose power here over the next little bit. So again, checking her out. His number is still 79 customers in the dark on Talquin here. And then on Tallahassee now, let's refresh that. And we are sitting there, it looks like, at over 1,000 customers in the dark now, 1,030. And yet the worst of the accident potentially for some of you guys, the most organized accident still about to come in here soon. From further out toward the west in Gaston County. If that holds together like it's doing right now, it'd be more robust, it would seem, based on our velocity values. So you got to be really careful here. You got to be really careful in this type of setup. Again, trying to see exactly what's going on. We're live again on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch to keep everybody safe and informed. I'm seeing if there's any questions right now from any of the viewers. I don't see any, but again, just thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. These brighter greens, these light blues even in some cases, indicative of a stronger wind action here. So I know, speaking of strong but not severe wind action, we got a gust earlier on out toward the east here. Toward areas there around Orange Park, 4 miles northeast, sitting there at about, it would seem, 41 miles an hour at 2:30 toward NAS Jacksonville. So not severe like what we saw going back last Sunday there in some of those spots, but still causing some issues. There's the icon. You see temperatures. Look at that, 97 in Mayport. The heat's going to become a bigger story in the days to come, but today it's that combination of heat and storms here causing problems for some of the local viewers within our 62 counties. I mean, if you're not getting the storms or haven't had the storms to cool things off, you're having that heat around. So it's got to be something you keep your eyes on. I know there's some excessive heat really that's stored over Miami today. Heat index values getting up there even. I mean, you see well into the triple digits in spots, depending on where you're at. I know there's some severe in Missouri, by the way, national standpoint, more toward The Arclitecturies in there. There's different accent really coming together. I know there's water temperatures in the Gulf there, in the Atlantic, and points really, really hot, and you don't want to see that, obviously. I mean, that's an issue here because, I mean, we're having trouble cooling down to some degree here. And then we have more fuel for some of this accent here at times, and things come together, and then you might have issues, obviously, as we're looking ahead here in toward the oceans. I mean, you might have some different things that generally don't happen. One of those, I mean, obviously, though, could be with even more rapid strengthening of storms. If they can defy wind shear that happens, then the water temperatures are like jet fuel for hurricanes, tropical storms, and that's something we got to watch here. And there's a lot of issues here at points, but I mean, this is kind of typical what we're seeing right now in terms of storms. I mean, summertime, it's not like this is something that rare in terms of the summertime storms here that we're seeing, but a little bit interesting to see this stuff back to the west, maintaining itself with this stuff east here over town causing problems here at this present point. But again, we're just going to go ahead and continue to watch things here. They're continuing this warning until 4:30 for parts of the Tallahassee area. So they just sent out a special update statement here like they always do. I mean, I guess it's not really that special, then it's just it's the standard procedure, but you get what I'm saying here. I don't always do it, but at 3:12, there's a thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 4:15 for southeastern Jackson, Gadsden, northern Liberty, Leon, Decatur, Grady, and southeastern Seminole counties. At 3:12 here, a severe thunderstorm is located over Greensboro, or 7 miles west of Quincy, moving east at 30 miles an hour. Tallahassee, Woodville, Florida State University, Tallahassee Community College, Quincy there, Havana, Bainbridge, Midway, Florida A&M, Wiggum, Doak Campbell Stadium, Chattahoochee, Greensboro, West Bainbridge, over toward Gretna, Bristol, Attapulgis, Climax, and Lake Bradford. These are some nasty winds. They're not talking about Bradford County, by the way, when I say Lake Bradford. That's way out toward the western area, toward that Big Bend region, toward those areas out there. But I know we're tracking this stuff very carefully. We're looking at our latest scans. Looking toward Mayo. Let's look back into toward Lafayette County right now. We're going to check on over there, see what we're doing with gusty winds there. Gusty winds moving to Hamilton County. They're not saying they're severe according to the Jacksonville office. We have some boundaries here in play. We'll watch things, and the story is really more, I mean, since that's kind of some degree, I mean, Mayo we're watching, obviously, and one of those areas downstream, but right now, no type of new warning further over there. We're going to have to keep watching, but more toward Tallahassee is where the story is a little bit more robust. I mean, you have multiple areas. I mean, really, it gets murky in here at times because you have to kind of play around, but try to get an idea of where the storminess has been. But you had that gust there, the gusty winds, and not getting that much of a break here. It could just be because it can so down low here. Might not really be getting much of a break here in play. Let's try to get our composite. Try to fill that gap in that we have with that radar. I don't generally like to use composite. It's not as high res, but we need to try to fill that gap in there on Tallahassee where it's called a cone of silence. So that little circle, I'll put it back on for a moment, is where our radar scan is sitting too low. So we kind of have to use tools here to kind of estimate what's going on there as we're looking at things. So that's what we're doing here. And it kind of sometimes overdoes the colors a bit, but these are some pretty nasty storms that you got to take seriously here. So, again, western parts of Leon County are winds about 30 one way, but I mean, that's not that far off, and then further up surface, and then further off to 60 mile-an-hour gust here in Gadsden County. In fact, it may be time to go ahead and pull up some traffic cameras here pretty soon. I know. Looks like getting a comment in here from Elisa there. Leon County storms getting pretty nasty already. That first area there coming on in. So again, just going to continue to watch things here. Keep you guys safe and informed on this Sunday afternoon. So Again, let's go ahead and kind of see what we're dealing with here. Let's see if we can put some traffic cameras. Our system going to be working hard to try to pull those up here, but you may be able to tell we're on a different. It's makes something that you, if you're really paying attention close, we're on a different system here, upgrading some things. So I know it makes things a little more interesting here at times because we don't have everything we can use. We have most of our stuff here for severe weather, pretty much everything that we need here to keep you guys safe and informed. There's some other stuff we're still adding back in here since we're kind of switching systems, but we got everything we need for the severe weather coverage here because we knew that threat could come into play. So let's go ahead and continue to watch things. I know with hurricane season in play, just got to make sure we have everything really fortified here in terms of our systems. That's why we're doing it now here. But again, making sure everything's ready to go in case we were to have a tropical threat, just in case. You always got to be prepared here this time of year. But again, continue to watch things. I know checking some of our different traffic views here behind the scenes. It's a one-man van, so I'm going to try to pull those up beforehand here just to kind of get an idea on what's going on here. What's going on? We're being told, okay, there's a couple issues. Power lines down on I-10 westbound, mile marker 208. And then getting issues there at 162. Tree block on I-10 eastbound there. 5 miles southwest of Hardin Heights. So, okay, that's the storyline that we're being told right now. I want to see maybe 208 might be interesting because that's over toward Killarney State. So, if we can try to find a traffic camera image of that here, that would definitely be helpful to the viewers at home. So I don't want to be out and about really right now in these type of instances. So I know there's issues, different crosses even further off toward the east, and some of those, I mean, seeing some backup from those and the like. So yeah, so we're oh wow, the backup is really nasty, and just some different things coming into play. Mile marker 208 can set that backup here toward Mahan Drive. So it's gonna be Florida 511 perspective, just so you guys know what we're dealing with here. Let's go ahead and pull that up right now. This is that view, Florida 511 perspective, mile marker 208 there. Look at that backup. Look at that backup there. Folks being out on the road with storminess around, not a great combination. More storms are coming in, so you don't like seeing a backup like this in play. Sunday afternoon, folks getting stuck out pretty much on the highway then. So let's just go ahead and keep watching things, keep tracking things. There, now that was Mahan Drive that we just pulled up to that area there, mile marker 208 on I-10. So again, continue to watch things. I know again there was an accident earlier on there. May have been really earlier on in that timeline based on some indications I'm getting right now. But let's go ahead and keep checking things here. Keep checking things. Look like I might have been the 1 o'clock hour, but based on something from the Florida 511 tracking system. But let's go back to our Broadview. I know if you're watching from Stark, Bradford County, where we're at, North Central Florida, not too much right now. We had that rain a little bit earlier on, about a 1/10 of an inch. Coming on down here, looking there at some of our different products. I know rainfall over the last 12 hours, you see it quite a bit, but mainly over the last hour, I could go to that, and I get you a lot there in parts of Taylor County. Getting some towards Leon, though, and then they want to pull up our traffic camera. I think, here at this point. Let me go ahead and pull that up in the corner. Oh, we don't want to go to that. Okay, let's try. That was the wrong view. I apologize. Our camera, our outdoor camera, we're still labeling stuff on here, so I gotta get used to our labels. But okay, this is what I want to say real quick. Can't see too much things. Not too active here right now in Bradford. But okay, so we're still labeling some stuff. So that's why we switched the wrong screen there for a second, because it's getting some things set on up here, but on our new system, upgrading some stuff, making sure things are fortified. But again, let's see where else we want to go right now. So again, continuing to watch things here this afternoon. Trying to give you guys the latest here. Let's see if there's any questions here from the viewers at home. I'm just going to see if there's anything that I need to kind of check on here that maybe I'm not seeing right off. So Again, don't see anything right now. Maybe traffic camera. I want to go there in a moment. I got power outage numbers 2 toward Tallahassee. I know, again, I'm just continuing to watch things, continuing to track things here in the weather center. So, again, we're just going to keep looking at everything that we're dealing with here. It's important to be on in this type of situation. So, okay, so the Tallahassee utility, we have 1,032 customers in the dark. Talquin, we have, it looks like 109 customers without power. So that's kind of your storyline there. So now Gadsden, I want to see if I can go back to traffic and kind of get back in over there, get an idea on what's going on here with some of that accent coming on into the picture a little bit more so. I know we're jumping between systems here. I know that wind here, I mean, since we've already had the storms at some degree here around Tallahassee that have already caused issues, I hesitate to say it, but to some degree this could be a bit of a wall of wind here coming on in based on some of our different velocity scans. You see Weston Midway here, winds of 50 plus miles an hour. So again, I'm just continuing to watch things here, continuing to monitor things. And it's not that high off the ground, 1,000 feet. So maybe just there, right near that 267 I-10 area that comes together. Maybe I'd be the traffic camera to pull up here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do that then. Right around Quincy, that might be a good traffic camera to go to here at this point, I think. So let me go ahead and do that. I may even want to go a little bit further east. I may want to go a little bit further east with this. I'm looking, I don't see a lot on some of these cameras, so it's possible here. I may need to kind of refine a couple things. Oh, I see that. And now it's starting to get pretty active on right there at that intersection. They go to live view. The still version didn't show that much, but this is going to be live here, folks, toward the Pat Thomas Parkway. I-10 there, mile marker 180. Maybe a little bit of hail bouncing. It's hard to say. That's kind of what it looks like. Florida 511 perspective here, folks. That Florida 511 perspective. By the way, we're being told out of Madison County. FHP website reports debris blocking southbound lanes and partially blocking northbound lanes on Highway 221 along the Taylor-Madison County border. But look at this wind. Okay, we said we weren't seeing anything, but we're seeing the wind now. This is some pretty nasty wind here around Quincy in Gadsden County. Look at that wind. That's really dangerous. With the scenario, we could always have a tree fall and something like that here, and winds that are really picking up. You can't really tell exactly how fast the winds are. It could be a situation where they're not quite as fast as it looks from this view because the trees don't look like they're blowing as much in the distance, but the traffic camera always have a tendency to blow, but still gusty winds here in play for sure. That rain kind of blowing sideways here in Gadsden County. So again, I know with Michael 5, almost 5 years ago now, you had so many trees fall then. Not going to have anything like that here, but some of the areas there are a little more vulnerable here. So just got to keep that in mind. So got to keep that in mind here for sure as we're looking at things right now with this traffic cameras. Again, I'm going to go ahead and keep looking here to see what we're dealing with in the weather center here this afternoon. Again, looking at all of our different scans. Looking at all of our different scans here. Definitely seeing the camera's sake here. 10 mile marker 180 or so. So we'll keep tracking that. But again, let's go ahead and jump back away here. Let's go ahead and jump back away. So you can kind of see here some of these brighter colors here in toward parts of the Gadsden, Leon County area. Talking about our warning continuing to 4:15 now. I know, looks like right now I haven't got any extension toward Mayo. Pretty nasty weather on Mayo in Lafayette County, but this warning here continuing until about 4:15. They canceled out Jackson and Seminole, but they're continuing it for Gadsden, Central Liberty, Leon, Southeastern Decatur, and Grady counties. At 3:24, severe thunderstorms are looking along the line extending from Bainbridge to 14 miles south of Greensboro, moving east at about 25 miles an hour. Tallahassee, Woodville, Florida State University, Tallahassee Community College, Quincy, Havana, Bainbridge, Midway. You kind of get the idea here. Florida A&M, Cairo, Wiggum, Duke Campbell Stadium, Greensboro, West Bainbridge, Gretna, Attapulgis, Climax, Lake Bradford, as well as Florence and South City. Under this concern, and thankfully we don't have like FSC football game going on right now. We're still about a month and a half away from that, or high school football even. I mean, obviously that'd be even a little more widespread in terms of the different stadiums we have with different impacts possibly, but again, gotta keep and watching things here. I mean, we always have this threat to you in that time of year. They start to fall off in that time range. But right now here in the summer, we have pretty potent weather moving through parts of the viewing circle here at this present point. Some strong winds there moving over to Midway and eastern Gadsden County, for instance. I know some of these don't correlate perfectly, but with the radar, we try to correlate the winds there on velocity. I try to correlate those here on velocity. We'll just keep checking things here for sure. Trying to give you guys the very latest on what's going on. I know. I'm just going to keep looking at some of our different sources here. Kind of give you guys an idea of what's happening. Again, right now, just looking here at some of our different tools that we have here in the Weather Center. It's really important here to just pay attention to what's going on this afternoon. We're just watching here everything that's happening, everything that's ongoing here as we get further on over into that timeline. We're just going to keep checking everything that we have here. I mean, going to keep checking everything that we have as the situation here gets a little bit further along. Let's go ahead and kind of see here what we're dealing with in terms of just any new updates. Don't see any in terms of weather service information, but let's check our power outages again. We're going to check on over toward, looks like Tallahassee Utility then. Tallahassee Utility. Let's go ahead and get those numbers in. We're talking about 1,041 customers in the dark. And then on Talquin, we're talking about 118 customers in the dark. So, again, that's kind of the storyline there. Sunday afternoon, you're trying to enjoy your day. You're trying to enjoy that weekend. Unfortunately, severe weather here has different plans. You just got to be really careful here. Got to be really careful in this type of situation. You just don't want to be caught off guard here when we have these storms coming on through parts of the viewing circle. So, again, we see Quincy. I mean, they're getting heavy downpours there, but look at toward the airport. Already had a gust over 50, and we could get more gusts in that range here. Not out of the question over the next little bit. So make sure, if you haven't already gone inside and gotten away from windows, I mean, maybe you were heading out there on the FSC campus there to grab a bite to eat at Swanee Room or something like that, you would be really best advised to just stay inside until the storm passes, which right now that threat has been put about 4:15 according to the warning for the National Weather Service. So again, just continuing to watch things here, continuing to monitor things. We'll go ahead and zoom back on out. You can see the word Bainbridge here in Decatur County. In Decatur County, you can see some wind enhancement there northeast of Attapulgis. So we'll be watching that. We haven't talked much about Cairo, but this stuff's up there. If this holds together there, I may have to extend things out toward Thomasville. Not as robust there, but still worth a mention in southeast side of Bainbridge. I know that's where some winds are showing up now. Earlier we had a gust of 24, so at the Decatur County Industrial Airport around Bainbridge. So always important to kind of keep in mind some of the different observations we're getting in here to the Weather Center. So again, right now, if things keep looking the way they do and we don't get some decay with this, we'll probably have to extend this warning further on out toward the east here. in the word areas of Jefferson and Madison. That would have been longer in the timeline, but we're maybe getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there at this point. We'll continue to watch things, obviously, based on what we're seeing. Then we'll decide when this stay on. But they did drop that warning for now. It looks like the word Mayo and Lafayette County, that throws in Jacksonville's county warning area into the word Suwannee County. Again, checking things. I know even out toward Louisiana, they're seeing maybe winds of 70 out there. With their threat, some of those areas there toward Caddo Parish, and like we were talking about area earlier on, just looking at things there. Bossier Parish, there, Harrison County in Texas. As I'm just checking more of our resources here that we have on hand. So there's a gust of 46 there at 328. Lake Talcott, 2 miles southwest there. So it's definitely some strong winds. Going to knock out some more power here around Tallahassee over the next little bit where we have the more populated areas. So I know we haven't talked as much about the rural power outages here. Those sometimes a little bit harder to get data on, or at least get as quick. But I'm going to check here, and that's why I sometimes look at those other maps here, because those numbers come in pretty quick around Tallahassee. More population density for folks to lose power in anyway. I mean, there's more chances that some folks lose power in those type of situations. But 56 customers out, according to the information we're getting in from PowerOutage.us for Gadsden County. And a few outages in Union County. You know, we haven't had any warnings over there, but a little bit of outage issues toward Union County where Lake Butler is. We had that strong storm action coming in earlier on, you know, warning with that, but still some strong gusts. Doesn't necessarily take severe gusts to knock out some power, cause some issues. In Georgia, Mitchell County, 329 customers in the dark, according to PowerOutage.us, as we continue to get more information on in. We're being told of a significant advisory now for portions of Fayette County until about 4 o'clock. Also, just headlines here from the Jacksonville office. Local heavy downpours across northeast Florida this evening with dangerously high heat index days expected Tuesday through Friday for northeast and north central Florida. So something to keep in mind as we look ahead in the timeline under the gust there. 305, Juniper there, 3 miles east southeast, 40 miles an hour. So looking out there in the Big Bend region of Gadsden County's vicinity there, to be specific. So we're just going to be continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. Just continue to watch everything that evolves on us here as the timeline gets a little bit further out. So again, I'm going to keep looking. I know getting some warning in Missouri, by the way. That's something that's kind of interesting from a national perspective as well, as that stuff towards some of the different parishes there in Louisiana. I know there's also a thunderstorm watch in play around St. Louis, so that's going to go in play there, it looks like, with the favorable conditions in the broad region to 9 Central, maybe not for the specific areas, but they only had the 5% wind risk there in play today, but unfortunately, things become a little more robust there in toward that area. Hail only at 5, probably upgrade that in here in a few moments, but getting some wind there, and that threat at least in toward Gasconade and Warren and Franklin County, then east central Missouri. And then looking there also out toward part of St. Charles County. There are 60, 70 mile an hour winds possible based on some indications. So, gotta be careful on St. Louis over the next little bit later on. We'll be watching further down toward the south on that national level look at things. But again, getting back here with the view, we're going to keep checking things. We're just going to keep looking at everything here in the Weather Center. So we're looking at a strong storm action there. Lafayette County, not severe right now. We'll keep looking. We had some rotation earlier. Taylor County ramp up, a no tornado warnings or anything like that coming into play today. A lot of lightning around Tallahassee. Remember that thunderbolts go indoors, please. Make sure you do that here. In these type of situations, lightning can be and has been deadly over the years in our area more than anything. Pretty much in terms of severe thunderstorm action. I mean, don't get as much in the way generally just near Roy of folks being injured by the trees and stuff like that falling, and the wind damage as much as you will really get with the lightning as you go back here, just thinking about that. So a lot of instability here. I mean, this is really off the charts in terms of these purples. More unstable air than you generally would see for these storms to thrive here. And plus that wind energy that's in play here, really kind of get that down, drive that down to the surface with the storms really building up in this environment. So, again, I got to be really careful here. These are very volatile conditions. I mean, they have 5,000 joules per kilogram of surface-based CAPE. So, over 5,000 joules per kilogram of surface-based CAPE, folks. I mean, that's not something you see every day. Some other values don't suck too much, which is good. Or we'd have like a tornado threat if we had some rotational parameters really coming into play. Like I said, we had that area there. I mean, these are enough values here in terms of what we're seeing on this mapping. There's enough in these values here that you could almost start to think about maybe just enough energy to start to override not having much of the other parameters at all to start to get something to spin up on us. No formal risk of anything in play, but again, that's how it works sometimes in summertime with severe thunderstorms. And again, I haven't had any reports out of Taylor County that I've seen here that I've noticed, but we did have a little bit of a spin there east of Taylor's County's biggest city there in Perry. So, again, just gonna keep watching things here, keep tracking. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see what else we have. I know. Look at some of our different scans. That stuff's really moving into Tallahassee. Let's jump over here. I know it kind of gets murky because we're right at the radar. So let's jump over to Moody real quick. Because that'll, at least we won't be obscured on that view. I know it's not as good of a view in some ways, but in some ways, at least we're not obscured. We have that wind coming in. I suspect the winds here in this setup may be more broad. What I mean by that here, I mean, we could have pockets of severe issues in terms of some damage and the like. But what I mean is we probably have maybe not quite as much of a force in a lot of spots, but in general, we'd have a bigger chance of at least strong wind moving in toward most communities in Tallahassee here with this type of pattern. So I can't be out and about here and have that lightning around, have that wind around. I can still knock a tree down or a tree limb down. We've had that issue in Tallahassee before, but again, the lightning's always really something that can catch people off guard. I mean, it's kind of been hanging around a little while, so hopefully by now folks are already inside and kind of maybe just watching movies if they're not watching storm coverage, something like that. But again, I just continue to watch things here in the Weather Center this afternoon around Tallahassee, around FSU, around FAMU, around TCC here. These are some nasty conditions moving on in. So, again, we're just trying to give you guys the very latest here. Make sure you guys are staying safe out there. We don't want you guys getting caught off guard here. I know, definitely a lot of lightning, as Lisa's saying there, between Midway and Havana. Definitely a lot of electrical energy. And we had here in Bradford County no warning earlier on. We needed to come over this situation that we were dealing with. It was a situation that we were dealing with here that where we just had thunder rumble after thunder rumble, more than I've heard in a while. I mean, some of those, a lot of those definitely cloud to cloud, but I mean, any of those that are cloud to ground can really be a problem. So you just gotta be careful here. I just gotta be really careful. Whenever that thunder rumble, we didn't have it mainly really close in this dark. Most of them you could hear in the distance. It was just constant. So I know that's probably why we had some power outages in Union County then. Maybe some issues with that lightning causing some problem. I mean, that was more vivid in terms of those sounds just being continuous than I've heard in a while. So, not even severe. That's not the criteria for severe, but it can still cause problems that potential around. So, keep that in mind. Let's look here at some more information behind the scenes right now. I know probably a good idea to try to check the power outage numbers in Tallahassee again, on Talquin and on the Tallahassee utility. So let's do that. We're talking about 1,042 customers still on Tallahassee utility, and on Talquin we have 166 customers without electricity. I remember that night, nothing's gonna be like this today. Not gonna be like this today, but back in 2016, I remember that night when the numbers just kept going higher and higher and higher during our meeting. Really for the first time, thinking of how valuable those power outage numbers are. in real time. I'm seeing that come into play there as those escalate. But again, I just continuing to watch things here in the weather center. Let me go ahead and see what else they might have here in terms of any type of traffic camera imagery. It's always important. It's always important here to pull up those traffic cameras as these situations progress here. Now, strong thunderstorm affecting parts of Gilchrist and Suwannee, north central Gilchrist and southern Suwannee. They're about 4:30, so we'll keep our eyes on that situation here. Not over some of those spots. But let's see what we might have in terms of traffic. Oh, some stuff blowing around here. I'm afraid when I pull up the camera, I want to go to the east end. It looks like that already kind of died down just a little bit really quick. So let's go to the east end. If that's catching stuff at mile marker 197, let's jump a little east end. Let's go to Monroe Street then. Probably catch some more interesting views, and that stuff can change pretty quickly here in this setup. Bear with me as I try to get that pulled up, but stuff kind of can change here pretty rapidly. I mean, in a minute or two, things can really look a lot different on you. Okay, let's pull up Old Bainbridge, and I'm seeing kind of a view here. I might jump back and forth between some of these. This just kind of gets in. I mean, it's a pretty broad area of storminess here, not as specific, and maybe it's concentrated. So let's go ahead and pull this up. This is toward Old Bainbridge Road here, mile marker 198. Florida 501 perspective. So again, just continuing to watch things here. You can see that viewpoint. Old Bainbridge Road, maybe some lightning flashes there in play as well. So let's go ahead and just keep looking what we have here. We're just going to keep checking some of our different perspectives here and try to jump around. I know mile marker 199, excellent 199 is right from here to me from my years at FSU, where we went. But looking closer there at Monroe Street right now, 198.7. We're looking at some different things behind the scenes here, and so it's kind of interesting just to get a view on what is happening. So that's what we're trying to do right now here, and let's go ahead and see if we can pop that up. I'm having some issues here, some technical issues right now, getting our traffic system to kind of come on up here, but bear with me. Like I said, we just switched to our other system here, so just trying to get things to come on up. So trying to get everything working for you there at home. Let's go ahead and jump through it like this then. Yeah, definitely, even since the pond and the water and the roadway, I think there's a flood advisory. Nobody will check that. I got issued way earlier, but it's probably still in play here. I mean, may get a flash flood warning if we get more and more rain. I mean, you see some folks with their flashers on and the like. So again, let's go ahead and see here. The flood advisory to 4:30 for Leon. So gotta be really careful here with all this rain coming on in here. All this rain coming on in here pretty rapid, right? You even see the camera shaking a little. This is toward mile marker 199 there, Monroe Street in Leon County. So some nastier conditions here in play. Seeing that camera shake there a little bit for sure. By the way, strong thunderstorm now toward Echols County as well, according to the Jacksonville office. Not severe, but getting up there with some of the different characteristics being seen by the Doppler algorithm. So again, just continuing to watch things there. I'll go ahead and check to see what else we might have further off toward the east with some of these visuals, some of these views here. The storm is pushing on through here. Let's go ahead and see what we might have. Gonna go a few miles east here. Let's see. Okay, that's not showing too much right now. I'm marker 201. Just kind of jumping around here to give you guys the latest. So, just trying to give you the latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So let's jump to about close to mile marker 200 here. Yeah, so seeing some of that wind blow around. Maybe some hail in there. It's hard to tell. Not really expecting much in the way of hail here, but it almost looks like there are at least big drops of rain, if not. Just seeing some of it blow around, maybe some smaller hail, and they're not completely out of the question. So this is closer there, mile marker 109.8, but close to 200 there. 1 out of 10. Definitely seeing that wind blow around some. You can see some of that action there, nastier conditions in play. Definitely see those downpours in play, but after that wind blowing the rain, making things a little more treacherous out there, even on the roadways. Looks like some folks even pulling off maybe or pull to the side of the road. So just be careful out there this afternoon in these type of adverse weather conditions. So again, just going to continue to watch things here. Going to continue to track things here in the weather center. I know we're just going to have to keep on looking here at some of our different views. You can kind of see here what's happening. These are some nasty, nasty focal points here that we're dealing with in terms of the severe weather. Some of these different cameras show things on a hyper local level, so very important to kind of bear in mind here as we're looking at things across the area. So again, that's kind of storyline right now. Things really slowing down on the road, so take it easy. Don't want more accidents. Already had some to the east. I know we're talking about that, so can't be messing around here for sure. As we go ahead, I'll jump back on over to we had that traffic backup earlier. Might be interesting to see if those folks are still backed up. I think they probably are. As we look, I mean, they're still kind of a little ways away from the storminess, but okay, some of that started to get going now, it looks like, which is good because we don't want folks stranded. We do not want folks stranded on the roads here in these type of setups. So gotta keep that in mind. So I won't pop that on our screen there for you guys, but checking some of the latest numbers. Let's see what we have in terms of power outages now. These should update pretty rapidly on Tallahassee Utility. Let's see what we have now. Okay, still 1,041 is what it's showing. And in Talquin, up to 204 customers in the dark. So again, just continuing to watch things, continuing to track things here in the weather center. We're just going to keep looking. Look, it's almost bowing out a little bit there. Again, we're technically down to one formal warning in our area. That goes until 4:15 for parts of Gadsden, Liberty, Leon, Decatur, and Grady counties. But some stronger storms around, and this warning could get extended depending on the winds we see down to the surface here on Tallahassee and surrounding areas. We may see an extension on this here as the timeline progresses, so we got to keep that in mind for sure. They're continuing it now. They just canceled Liberty out, just so you guys know at home. We're talking about Gadsden, Liberty, Leon, Decatur, and Grady, but now canceling Liberty, but at 3:48, severe thunderstorms located along the line extending from near Wiggum to 9 miles southwest of Tallahassee Community College. Winds to 30 miles an hour. The hazard is mainly that 60-mile-an-hour wind gust potential there. That's why it's prompting the warning. I know the lighting's pretty wicked out there. The downpours are heavy, but those don't prompt a warning. The wind damage potential does, though. And that's what we're dealing with in some of these areas here in and around. And I'll go ahead and zoom back in. Let's zoom back in, kind of clean this up just a little bit for you guys at home. Tallahassee, Woodville, Florida State University, Midway, Tallahassee Community College, as we were just alluding to. Havana, Florida A&M there. Cairo, Wiggum, Doak Campbell Stadium. Attapulgis, Climax, Lake Bradford is what Leon Sinks. Gaither Community Center, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, Florence, Walker, Ford Community Center area there. Jameson and Rocky Hill. So again, I'm just continuing to watch things here in our weather center. There's some wind enhancement really showing up in Grady County. We've kind of again been focusing to the south, but that's very quickly coming together though. That almost like a little bit of weak rotation almost. And it could be the angle we're looking at it, but it looks like it's trying to really evolve right over that community there. I mean, you can pronounce it. I think you could pronounce it Reno or Reno, but this is what we're talking there. Grady County right now. Some nasty winds starting to come into play. This is south of Cairo, but that might get us a new warning in Thomas County. I mean, that almost might get us a new warning more if we're not getting the winds as much as the surface reported so far to the south. I mean, we may have a bigger problem to the north then because that looks like some weak rotation even. I'll be curious. Let's see what the other radar shows it as because the angle matters here. Those angles do matter. And oh, we're even getting it from this view. That's showing it more toward Cairo, which is more concerning because There's some displacement going on here, and that's really not good when we have that displacement. That's 6,000 feet though, and this one will be closer here by a good margin. So what this tells me, there is some rotation. There's a couple of different areas maybe in here. I would suspect it's more on the southern flank though. But gotta be careful here. I'm not saying we need a tornado warning or anything like that, but these instability levels as high as they are now, I've seen it before with situations. We could get at least a tornado possible tag added here if things start to ramp up a little bit further here. It's starting to remind me a little bit of what we saw there east of Perry earlier on in Taylor County. We didn't have a warning for a tornado threat, but we saw a little bit of a quick spin up. Potential one radar. Not seeing any damage. We haven't had any that I've seen there, or any type of tornado confirmed, but it's kind of interesting here as you really dive into the details on the meteorology and the radar meteorology. So, again, checking some other views here, trying to get some other perspectives. That looks a little more broad. Yeah, that definitely looks broader in that latest scan, but that's higher up. So be careful here around Cairo. Just be careful. Just make sure you're inside and away from windows, things. I know we say the worst maybe this south of town, but there's enough displacement going on here. I don't know if I take any chances around Cairo just in case. What I mean by that is the radar's not seeing stuff right at the surface exactly. It's the angle here that's kind of displaced. The echoes are a little bit displaced from the geography and the surface here. So that kind of doesn't help us with the full story sometimes. So again, some stronger conditions here though around Tallahassee. I feel like, and maybe we'll get them in a moment here. It may take a few more moments for this information to trickle in, but I feel like a lot of this wind coming through Tallahassee, we're probably getting some more reports here. So hopefully a lot of these winds are just in that strong range and not severe. Technically, that'd be some good news. We talked about it being more broad versus more focused here, based on what I was seeing earlier on. So we're going to knock out some power at 1,043 customers in the dark. So just a little bit of an increase there, but not by much. It's going to be harder for folks to fix things though. Talquin, a little bit different story, a little bit more of an increase, 452 customers in the dark on that electric company's grid there at this point. So again, just continuing to watch things here. Trying to make sure you guys are staying safe this afternoon. We're trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So again, definitely a storyline here that we gotta be kind of mindful of. You can't be messing around here in this type of setup with these storms coming on in. So again, I'm just trying to give you guys the latest here. Strong storm threat, Baker, Early, and Miller in Georgia now till about 4:45. So definitely some gusty winds there southeast of Blakely, but not considered severe right now. But I've seen some of this here around in the vicinity, at least of Damascus there. So we'll keep on watching, keep on tracking. You see some storminess there get out of this warning now. Very quickly they're starting to evolve north of Crawfordville. Gotta be careful, make sure those winds don't kind of pick up there. They might not be severe there, but may get a gust of wind that's a little bit strong there. And we'll call the county over the next little bit. So again, something to kind of keep in mind. So I'm just going to keep checking things here. Keep monitoring things. Just checking there. Of course, Crawfordville, the county seat of Wakulla County. And they're kind of on the edge right now of things, the storminess. But you can see that little bit of a bow shape here. If you look real carefully here, kind of that would indicate here more wind potential possibly down toward the surface. The area there in Grady County, that was concerning. We've talked about that there. South of Cairo, or pretty much released from the south side of Cairo to the remainder of Grady County. So, again, just going to keep looking at things here in the Weather Center. Going to keep monitoring the situation here. I know we're just trying to give you guys all the latest updates on what's going on. I know looks like getting a visual that it was getting dark in northern Leon County a few moments ago. Wasn't raining there yet, but light wind, but obviously the conditions kind of deteriorating on us there at times. So it's got to be kind of careful here in these type of situations. So keep looking here at things. We're just going to keep checking everything that's going on. Let me go back on over. It seems like we'd be getting more reports to Tallahassee if we had some problems, but It could be a situation around Grady County where they might have to extend the warning threat over because of that. And the word would be Thomas County here. Over the next little bit, we need stability values when stuff's by itself enough, kind of broken apart enough, that can pose more of a hazard here for folks. Just got to keep that in mind. Got to keep that in mind here for sure. To continue to watch things here in the weather center. So I try to give you guys the very latest. I know we're just gonna keep on checking things here. Keep on monitoring the scenario as it does evolve on us. I know around Tallahassee, seeing some nasty weather, maybe damaging in some neighborhoods. Same in North Grady County here. From Cairo south, I would say, is where the focal point of this would be. So just got to be kind of careful here. Even getting a hail indicator now. I haven't really seen much of this today. It's on another source. So let's go ahead. Another warning here for just a 60-mile-an-hour gust away. But getting an indication of hail. It could be close to an inch in size there. Just right southwest of Cairo. You see that there? I hadn't really seen much of that today at all. That's the storyline kind of escalating a little. Not seeing they're actually getting it under the surface, but it's possible there in that area. So just got to keep watching, keep tracking here. I know we're just trying to give you guys everything you need here to protect you, your friends, and your family. Just trying to go ahead and keep checking all our different scans for you guys. Trying to give you guys a notice, advance notice on what's going on here. I know, definitely some nastier conditions. Some nastier conditions here at points. So again, just continuing to watch things here in the weather center. We're at about 3:57 here on this Sunday afternoon. We're just trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So again, let's see what else we might have here. I know. Let's see where we might want to go with this over the next few moments. I want to talk about some of that Missouri storminess here that's in play. We may want to go ahead and look there. Look up toward that area here over the next little bit, possibly. And by the way, strong storm Camden County, Georgia now are being told. So that's kind of interesting to touch on. There, but we won't switch our radar view over for that necessarily, but it's kind of always intriguing here to get an idea of what's going on here on this Sunday afternoon. So again, just going to keep checking things here, keep monitoring things. Definitely a national story setting up there west of St. Louis, Missouri real quick as we jump on over. Just there in that upper 50 range pretty much in there toward Washington area there in Missouri, that Washington communities. See some of these stronger winds of velocity coming on in there over the next little bit up there in east central Missouri. So I know threats right now, Franklin and Warren counties, and then parts of St. Charles County really in play there, being impacted. But jump back to our local weather now. I just want to give you a quick national view on that. Have some stuff toward the Arklatex as well. Let's jump back in there. You see even a little bit, this is on broad rotation on here. And you can see a little bit of that here south of Cairo. So got to keep that in mind here for sure. We're just going to keep looking at things. And now things are pretty calm around the Stark area in Bradford County right now. 81 or so Keystone. You see them lighting out toward Lafayette and southern Suwannee counties though. Nothing severe, but we'll keep on tracking that potential there for sure. So again, I just trying to see exactly what's going on here on our latest scans. Here, I know just being told of a new warning now for parts of the St. Louis metro. Let's jump back really quick, and that just popped up, and that's a big national story that is in play. I mean, in some ways, it's not something we'd be on for if we weren't already on, don't get me wrong, but that's something. They've had nasty storms up there lately in some of these spots, depending on what neighborhoods you've been in there in terms of the winds picking on up. Calhoun, St. Louis City, as well as northeastern St. Charles and St. Louis County under a warning to about 3:45 Central Time. So some 70-mile-an-hour gusts not out of the question there. Jump back on over to this perspective now, this viewpoint. Again, we have our one warning left. I mean, if we were to get a new warning to be issued based on what we see to the south, the catalyst for that might actually end up being a situation there in Grady County, because that looks more impressive than we're seeing in Leon at this moment, but did get a gust about 31 at the airport there in Tallahassee. Let's go ahead and kind of see here what's going on. This warning goes for another 14 minutes officially, so we'll continue to track it here in the Weather Center. Let me go ahead and see what we might have here. Talquin now, 479 customers in a driver. That 480 actually just changed. Still over 99% of the customers have power on that grid. And then Tallahassee Utility now, 1,090 customers in the dark. So that's kind of the storyline there. So some nasty weather there for sure. We're going to keep looking at things, keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. Central parts of Grady County, some wind impacts there. I mean, Roy, I don't want to say south central here to be honest, but again, going to continue to look at our different scans, our different volume scans here to give you guys the very latest. That area there of wind, if that holds together, it could be moving toward Metcalf over next little bit and then toward northern parts of Jefferson County, possibly based on this track here that we're dealing with. So I'm being told now, and this is kind of interesting, this is kind of where I was leaning. There isn't an advisory, but not necessarily. Okay, yeah, they just issued an advisory for part of this and a warning for part of this. Okay, so that's the new storyline. You'll see the new warning here in a moment. So an advisory for parts of McCullough, Jefferson, Leon. But then now I see a thunderstorm warning for other parts of Jefferson, Leon, and then Grady and Thomas. So let's see exactly what that encompasses in terms of the geography now. I see for thunderstorm warning number 430, 40 year already issued by Tallahassee. That's why we're not coming on for all the severe thunderstorm warnings. You see the advisory focus more toward Crawfordville. This warning here doesn't include Tallahassee and includes Thomasville now, northern Jefferson, northeastern, Leon, southeastern, Grady, and Thomas counties until 5 o'clock at 4:02. Severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from Cairo to near Tallahassee, moving east at 35 miles an hour. Tallahassee, Monticello, Cairo, Overlord, Thomasville, Boston, Barwick, Thomasville Airport, Dillon, Rocky Hill, Muskogee, Merrillville, Drifton, Killarney Estates, Casablanca there, Princess Steel. You kind of get the idea of what's going on at the present time. Some nasty weather conditions here in play. So again, the threats are more focused to the north. We had Tallahassee now warning. Enjoy that area. That's going to be getting there. Maybe clipping the south side of Thomasville. Maybe the worst will get just south of town, but we South Sea here. Still some heavy rain maybe coming into parts of Thomasville. Here over next little bit without warning in play for now. For the 56 minutes or so. It's going to keep watching. I mean, some will get trimmed back early, of course, but that's where the focal point of the wind energy seems to be up there right now. We'll just have to keep looking at things here in the Weather Center. Let's go ahead and see what we have here. Let's see what we have in terms of any new information. So I probably want to look for Grady County power outages now. Let's do that then. Georgia power outage.us. I know it'd be interesting just to kind of get an idea on what's going on there. So nothing on there as of a few moments ago, but that could always change. Most of that's covered by Grady EMC. So let's see what they got here. So far, only one customer not that 4 minutes ago. So that power. So that's good so far. Then that seems to be pretty quick to real time, but we could always get an escalation of that here over the next little bit. We'll have to watch for that. We'll have to track that here, of course, in the Weather Center. New warning now, unfortunately. Okay, it's another new warning now that we're dealing with. So let's go ahead and see what this is all about. It's for the area further up in Georgia now. So that's going to be until 5:15 now. 5:15 for parts there of Decatur, so northeastern Decatur, northern Grady, Miller, southwestern Mitchell, western Baker, and east central Early counties until 5:15. So that's a new severe thunderstorm warning now coming on out. A new severe thunderstorm warning coming on out here in this type of setup. So again, let me just go ahead and kind of see what we have here. I'm trying to type in everything we need here to give you guys the update. So it's about 60-mile-an-hour wind potential here toward areas of this box like Colquitt, also Pelham here, Douglasville, Damascus, as well as looks like Babcock, Ivy's Mill, Decatur County Airport, even over where Mimsville, Brantsville, Bellevue there, even into where Rowena and Acreage. You kind of get the idea with some of this storming that's coming on in. So, okay, this expired out. One of these warnings, though, which is good for most of Tallahassee. They're expiring now because we're not seeing as much of the wind down to the surface there. That warning going away then. The severe thunderstorm warning going away officially at 4:15, but we still have these two warnings to the north in play now. You have all that instability here, that extremely unsafe. You see red, so that's still quite a bit. And then I have some stuff in Camden and regions in between here. So have to keep watching, have to keep tracking here as we're looking at some of our different scans. Different scans here are always important to kind of get a gauge on what's going on here. So again, let's kind of go over to Camden County right now. Camden County, southeast Georgia. So you had that advisory for on Woodbine, gusts of 50 possible. Waverly, Woodbine, Tarboro, Dover, Bluff, and Colesburg. That's through about, it looks like 4:45. Advisories in play here out towards Suwannee and Lafayette County. Well, not Lafayette because that's a different jurisdiction. Suwannee and Gilchrist counties until about 4:30. It's Chutney Spring, O'Brien, Branford, and Hildreth. Dangerous lightning. Make sure you hear that rumble of thunder. You go inside. But then gusty winds also could knock down some tree limbs and blow around some unsecured objects. Echoes County there, some strong thunderstorm action as well in that vicinity. So just going to have to keep watching here on our scans. Some stronger gust potential here. Of course, you had the warnings here further up. Let's get back to Tallahassee's radar then. I wish we had the Fort Rook radar, especially for stuff further up in Georgia. But still some strong wind possible parts of the area early in Miller counties right now. It seems like the worst there. But then toward the south of Tallahassee's radar, some stronger winds right on that Grady-Thomas County line. So again, just have to keep watching and keep tracking things here in the weather center. We're just going to keep looking at all our different scans here to give you guys the latest. And then that national storyline, some severe weather up towards St. Louis. So that's kind of a storyline there. So nastier conditions there. As we just really quickly look at some of our different maps. It's always important just to kind of see some of the different areas that could be in the path here later on. But you can kind of see here some gusty winds coming on through there around St. Louis this afternoon, causing some problems, it would seem, causing some more power outages. So it's something to kind of bear in mind here as we look at some of the different scans here to try to give you guys the very latest on what's going on. Looks like more concentration towards St. Louis and then the ward areas there, maybe closer toward the old mines area here over the next little bit. We shall see. Let's go back over to where the views. Again, you can kind of see here Suwannee over toward Gilchrist. See Echoes County, see Lowndes County, some stronger winds in there off the Moody. To go to velocity. Nothing overwhelming for a warning being necessary right now, though. Just checking everything as it comes on in. A little bit more of a surge of wind, maybe toward Thomasville next little bit, then based on that latest scan. And something to watch there in Thomas County. can't make your guard down there in toward that area. Again, sticking with you so you guys know the latest information to stay safe and informed here on this Sunday afternoon. So let me go ahead and see what we have here. Checking our power outage numbers again. I'll make sure you guys have that latest data here at your disposal. So nothing too new though that's too pertinent here. That's at this point in time anyway, but we'll just continue to watch things, continue to track them here in the Weather Center. And in Georgia here, see if we can get an idea of some of the outage numbers maybe toward Grady County if there are any, or starting to edge into Thomas maybe. So it looks like most of that's still under Grady EMC over there. See if there's any new numbers. Should be a few folks, but only 2 customers out, so that's good news so far. But I could always upgrade on us here. I've escalated a little bit more. I mean, it's always possible that could be a little bit behind here as well. As we keep looking at things, keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. Again, we're in Bradford County, North Central Florida. We cover 62 counties. This time of year, we don't go on quite as much if we have severe thunderstorm warnings, and we're on more often. The storyline is that severe thunderstorm warnings, we got to use a little more discretion, and we're always on for tornado warning storms. Don't have any of those today so far. Not really expecting anything like that, but severe thunderstorms have been enough here, a little more aggressive looking. We need to jump on. We had to stay on here for close to an hour and a half now to protect you, your friends, and your families. So, again, let's see what else we have here. No formal Western Storm Prediction Center, which is kind of interesting, but this time of year things always get kind of tricky like that. I know nobody's discussing or anything either, but this time of year things kind of just develop here with the overall boundaries in play. You have your sea breezes, you have the hot temperatures, and things kind of just erupt on you here from time to time. So, again, you see our severe thunderstorm warnings in the yellow boxes. That's indicative of that threat of damage and wind gusts to 60 miles an hour within those. So, you see a little bit less lightning toward parts of southern Suwannee and southeastern Lafayette counties, but just a minor on Tallahassee proper downtown. But severe warnings are more toward the north there at this point, it would seem. That's kind of a storyline right now. Moving toward Thomasville now. This area is a little more no man's land. I mean, I know there's some folks that are out here, but some of the city is concentrated in the more populated areas here. Lower parts of Decatur, northeastern Decatur, northern Grady, Miller, southwestern Mitchell, western Baker, and east central Early counties of 515. If we weren't already on for the area to the south and the other areas we've already been on for, I probably wouldn't stay on for it this time of year just because, again, things we just have had so many warnings. Over 400 severe thunderstorm warnings by the Tallahassee office this year. Now that does include some that we don't cover in terms of counties, but also doesn't include the Jacksonville ones that have been issued. So busy here. I mean, later in the year, things start to calm down with those type of issuances here, except for a squall line event or something like that. But the tornado numbers aren't too high either, unless you have a landfall and tropical system. And go back to 2004 and Francis and Jean, those numbers just got really high around Jacksonville jurisdictions. With all the tornado information details coming in based on either reports or algorithms, sun rotation on the Doppler radars. So things are always interesting in terms of those numbers here, in terms of the weather situation here at large in general. I mean, I know we've had the atmosphere worked over some, but these instability values are not helping us here for certain spots of areas. Having trouble getting stuff to reform, thankfully. I mean, there's more than just instability you have to worry about in terms of storm formation, but again, that's just one factor that is really high today, higher than I generally see here, even for this time of year. So Thomasville back to getting some of the worst of this now. Seems like some of the worst is getting a little closer into where Thomasville now, folks. So don't mess around. If you're in Thomasville, that thunder is rumbling, to be inside and to be away from those windows here. It's not a tornado situation, it doesn't look like, but these are some stronger, more potent conditions coming on in right now toward that area. So don't want to be messing around here. Don't want to be messing around into where that spot within the viewing circle. So Again, just going to keep checking things here. I'm going to go ahead and keep checking. Keep giving you guys all those latest details here. Try to keep you guys safe and informed. So, Trump, thunderstorm, and Clinton echoes are being told, by the way. So that's kind of a storyline there. Let me go ahead and zoom some things out behind the scenes. I know, always interesting to kind of get a gauge on what's going on here. And in fact, I will go ahead and give you a quick update on, looks like now, I was going to call it Hurricane Calvin. Let me see. May have been downgraded here earlier on. Our system says it has been. It has been downgraded to a tropical storm. That was earlier on in the day. So that's some good news. But I have to watch that over in Hawaii there. So real quickly, break away from our stuff that we're talking about on our radar maps. And you can see here the models. Some of them taking a little bit further south, which if it gets too far south, it would be having a less of an impact on folks, depending on the organization pattern in terms of the distance. But sometimes it can maintain itself a little bit better when it goes south. If it goes north, I mean, then you're talking about in cool water. Generally, that's the pattern out there. There'd be some good news, but we'll continue to watch things here. Let's get back on over to this view. Keep on watching, keep on tracking. I know the storm structure plays a role in that. And the likes. So just have to keep monitoring things here. See if there's any questions. I don't see any questions, but again, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this Sunday afternoon. We're going to go ahead and keep looking here at some of the latest data that's coming on in. Again, we've been on for about an hour and a half now, as I've alluded to. Again, just thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me here to provide you that latest weather information. We're looking right now, not many power outages, thankfully, which is some good news. But things can always change on us here in a hurry, you know. A couple customers in the dark there. Not very many, which makes me wonder this is really verifying, which would be good news if it wasn't verifying, but it makes me want to think maybe we would wrap this a little bit quicker here if we're not seeing too much more. But again, I know we'll be watching things here, obviously, across our area. Watching some stronger acts in Camden County. I don't forget about you guys around Woodbine. I'm a severe, but we'll watch that. But Thomasville, probably, I mean, the algorithms say that they're getting the strongest of the winds there. Maybe right over there. US 84. 50-mile-an-hour winds there. Watch that kind of moving closer toward Glenwood Drive, it looks like here over the next few seconds. So that's in Thomasville right now. Some stronger winds moving on through there in Thomas County. It's always interesting to see how the geography breaks down with the warnings, too. I know we always get more warnings just in general here in these patterns to the west. I mean, this time of year, or, I mean, just any time of year, you've seen counts on the warnings. And they always kind of trend toward Tallahassee's counties here to thunderstorm threats, it would seem. That's kind of just interesting with the pattern. I mean, you have stuff coming in from the north and west and the west, and stuff generally holds together a little bit better out there than it would here. We're in Bradford, North Central Florida, but kind of interesting here. I mean, you can always still get nasty weather in the east, no doubt, as we've seen plenty of times over the years. So, again, just trying to see what we have here. That is a strong storm. That is a strong storm in Camden County. Continue to watch things. I know. Just checking here. Checking the geography. Checking our topography. And how that correlates. So we'll watch if that needs a warning. May or may not come back on for that, depending on the overall threat associated with that potential here. Population density and the overall concern level. But we'll watch that. That's north of Jackson, north of Callahan, and Hilliard and Yulee, and some of those communities here in Nassau County. So let's get back to the west a little bit. We have the two warnings here. I don't want to forget about the one in the north. That's in a less populated area, but since we're still on, we need to talk about that real quick. That's not showing a lot, honestly, on wind mode here. Eastern Miller County looks to be where the worst of that is. I'm talking about northeastern Decatur, northern Grady, Miller, southwestern Mitchell, western Baker, west central early counties into about 5:15. So again, watching that there, and then to the south, Thomas County around Thomasville. Getting the brunt of this right now. At least some heavy rain and lightning, but maybe getting some pretty strong winds down toward the surface there. We're just going to keep looking here at our different numbers, at our different information here as it comes on in. As it comes on in here this afternoon, I'm just going to go ahead and keep checking things. Keep checking all of our latest data. You just don't want to be messing around here in these type of situations. And now the Grady EMCs numbers, yeah, they're not really showing much in terms of outages, which is a really good sign so far. Let's get a broad perspective here behind the scenes. I know, always interesting to get that data to load in here. Bear with me. 329 customers out in Mitchell County, but not many really toward Grady County. Just maybe 1 or 2 showing up there. Thomas, none so far, but that could change obviously as the situation progresses. Definitely want to make sure we're not getting caught off guard here in these type of scenarios. So a little over 1,000 Leon there last check. Let me check them again. Just bear with me here. So, okay, now we're 2,000 customers out in Leon County according to Tallahassee Utility. That's a pretty big jump then. Over 2,000 out in Tallahassee's utility area. I mean, some of that includes northeast Tallahassee probably there. It does as I'm looking, but let's check Talquin. Check that number here real quick for you guys at home. 452 customers, so that's about 2,500 in the Dartmouth and that Leon County region here. A pretty good estimate for that right now. Let's go ahead and go up to the North Dakota National Storyline. News of a thunderstorm warning issued to fill in the gap between St. Louis and that area that's up in northwest St. Genevieve County. There it would seem, or well, I shouldn't say it's not quite clipping northwest St. Genevieve. I'm sorry, it's the county's drawing St. Francis, but again, national storyline. I thought we'd touch on this again real quick. We have some viewers up there watching. Some of the worst of this maybe they're between it looks like Old Mines and Bonne Terre. We'll watch there, talking about Old Mines kind of on the end toward some of this right now, but Bonne Terre here, the wind energy is kind of pushing in that direction from there to about, it looks like some communities toward the north. So again, we'll be watching, we'll be tracking there. Just gonna have to keep watching things here in that timeline. You see this new warning there, including areas like Arnold there. Some pretty nasty winds. They don't look as nasty on this mode in this box as they do to the south and into the north, though. So that's the good news. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I'm for a long time tracking our local concern, but I just wanted to check the national concern. That's kind of escalated pretty quickly up there to Smith Thunderstorm Watch and Smith Thunderstorm Warning situation there with multiple in play. But so again, checking things around Thomasville right now. You can see some stronger wind. We'll go back to the east now. Camden County, some stronger wind. Gusts to 50 possible in the word parts of Camden and Nassau at 5 o'clock. Kingsland, St. Mary's, Keens Bay Base, Keens Ferry there. I'm watching that. Let's check Thomas County here. So we're talking about areas around Thomasville, around US 84. Here's some of the strongest wind. Definitely some nastier conditions there. So our 2 warnings in our area right now, the 1 goes until about 5:15 for parts of Baker, Decatur, early Grady, over toward Miller and Mitchell. And then 5 o'clock for portions of Jefferson, Leon, Grady, and Thomas. Again, the numbers here have kind of gone up in Tallahassee. Some of that's just probably stronger wind widespread. You may need to watch some of the southern flank if that is kind of causing some of the numbers to go up. Then that would be moving here into areas that could cause the numbers to go up toward like Metcalf and Monticello. Don't see that on the radar as much, but it scans angles can kind of play tricks with you sometimes. So this is something to kind of think about. May not be happening like that at all, but the numbers are going up to the south. It might just be more population density stuff, population density thing. But again, just continuing to watch things here. We're just going to have to keep on looking at things. You can see around Thomasville and Thomas County right now. Watching that situation. I know, just checking some of our different computer systems here. They're definitely working hard here to give you guys the latest. Again, tracking some of this threat here. If we were to get warnings extended later on, maybe Brooks, Lowndes, Madison counties, we'll track here if necessary. Hopefully we'll get lucky and that doesn't happen, but you never know. We're seeing 45, 40 mile-an-hour winds around US 19 right now. Thomas County. Something to keep in mind. I know, I'm going to go ahead and keep checking things. At least stay on a little longer here. We're approaching the bottom of the hour, 4:30 here. 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central. If anybody's watching from the out west there in the Central Time Zone, where we were tracking just a little bit of that severe threat there on the air in the word for areas, parts of Missouri. So something to kind of touch on, but Thomasville is our focal point around Thomas County in south central Georgia. Interesting to see if we get a gust of the METAR there. Let's see, because if we don't, then that probably tells us we're not getting as bad of weather, because that METAR should be right in there. Okay, yeah, we'll be here pretty soon. Not quite there yet, but it will be right in there. So again, that's kind of help with that. 84, by the way, is your temperature. Not any type of wind speed, but there's up in yellow or winds up in the white here on this mode when we do it. With the METAR at dinner, let's keep the winds up more, but we watch and we track in here just to kind of see what's going on in this type of situation. Let me go ahead and check our numbers here. Yes, so still we're not getting hardly any on grid EMC. I almost wonder that's not updated, because I feel like you'd at least have a few more outages, but if not, that's great. That's definitely great news. But again, around Thomasville right now in Thomas County, where some of our focus really is lying here at this present time. Again, we're watching stuff, we're tracking it all for you. Let's just go ahead and keep watching here all of our different scans. We're just trying to give everything you guys need out for you guys, the viewer. Real quick back up to Missouri just to kind of break away here from what we're looking at. You can kind of see some wind boundaries here coming into play. Could kind of fire some stuff up here to some degree then. Down in the south, we'll have to wait and see and watch that. Definitely some nasty conditions here. Points. Let's get back to the south though. Let's get over to some of our different views. I know that radar, that Moody, always helpful for us. Always very helpful. Looking here, some stronger weather to the east, but severe weather potential on Thomasville. Still remains the case here. It remains a storyline for a little bit longer, at least here with this coming on through. Things a little bit better in Tallahassee. Still some lingering rumbles of thunder, maybe. Still kind of be kind of careful there. Use that extra caution, but under the north, it doesn't look as impressive still. But this one around Thomasville still does look pretty impressive. But the angles can play tricks with you. Sometimes things look stronger than they actually are, or vice versa. So one storm area could be stronger than it actually looks on here, and one could be weaker. So right now the Thomas area looks stronger, but you never know. based on the distances on the radar scans. Again, just continuing to give you the latest updates. In fact, okay, they just gave us an update here. Okay, we just got a couple updates. They just canceled the warning in the north there, which is what we want to see, obviously. Baker, Decatur, Early, Grady, Miller, and Mitchell canceled. Seeing that decay really take place there. Strong thunders over on Cropperville, not severe right now, but gusts there could be upward of, it looks like, about 40 miles an hour. And they've canceled out also the sliver of Jefferson, Leon, and Grady, but they're keeping it for Thomas here. Keeping it for Thomasville, just in case this wind is getting down toward the surface. Looks a little, maybe weaker on that scan, though, and even weaker on that scan. So we're heading in the right direction here, folks. Maybe. We have that instability around, though, so things could still fire up in other places, but at least locally we are. I mean, maybe not towards St. Louis nationally, but some pretty nasty weather coming on in there. But let's check Camden County in Georgia. Not severe, but we have a little bit of wind enhancement here close to the East Coast. Could get a warning here towards St. Mary's, not out of the question then. Seeing winds about 47 along I-95 right now in Camden County. So that's a heads up for you guys watching from Camden there. That's the kind of track here southeasterly, it looks like. They're saying east, but again, probably more southeasterly. That could draw us up a quick warning in the coast before it gets off. Never know. Hopefully it doesn't, but not out of the question there. Or Thomas County, this doesn't look as robust, but still, as it was looking, but still some nasty conditions with it. Just be kind of careful out there on these temperatures here, these trends. Interesting to keep our eyes on here. You can see core here in spots that have had that rain. In fact, it's up. You see a lot warmer in some spots earlier on. Other spots a different story though. But last 12 hours of the rain, you see quite a bit of rain toward Tallahassee's areas that are outlined toward the west. And maybe not quite as much in town, but going between 1 hour and 12 hours. You see some areas 3-4 inches in the red though. Town around 1 to 2 on the estimates. That could be underdone a little because of that cone of silence, but and around Perry, Taylor County, really that escalation just east and just appears there's more northeast of town, 2 to 3 inches of rain in that darker red. Some areas just outside here of the Jacksonville and Tallahassee CWA areas in Levy County, Northern Chief, on over 3 inches. And that red Bradford County, we only got about 1/10 of an inch here. East is dark, and that's aligning with the radar estimates. So not much in Jacksonville proper either. So that's good if you don't want the storms disrupting your day. But again, there's your broad view. There's your overview right now here. Give you a view up toward Missouri. Several warnings in play in Missouri right now. Even a gust reported is 60 there from a train spotter around Old Mines in Washington County. So, nasty conditions there. Looking toward the Arkla, Texas, you see some stuff pushing it over more, getting closer to the Arkla Mist pretty much. Numerous trees and power lines have been down across northwest Louisiana from the storms. So interesting to kind of bear in mind there. I know we had that excessive heat warning issued toward Miami earlier on. I think that's the first ever there for them. Different criteria maybe even play a little bit, but still that's pretty impressive and not in a good way. Just some nasty conditions here in play overall. Just gotta be careful. Excessive heat when we don't have the storms around, and make sure you're drinking plenty of water. We had the storms around Stark earlier, so it's not that bad out there right now, though. Dipping back into the 80s, but still, it could be a lot worse. Quickly, let's go ahead and pull up our outdoor camera in the corner then. That's after I switch over to our other view here. Switch this up here. See, it's really bright out there still. So you saw that. I mean, not sunny necessarily. I mean, just, complete brilliant sunshine. But you saw that brightness there. It's kind of a little overwhelming, even probably not great to even keep pulling that up then, because I need to set that aperture a little bit better. But we have that sun that comes into play in terms of at least a little more brightness. Again, continue to watch things here as we're looking at things, as we're watching. Things look weaker to some degree. Now we have subtropical storm Dawn subtropical depression Dawn. The Atlantic information is coming in, so I'll pass that along. I don't know if this is going to be the updated one, is it? Okay, it is the updated one. You see it kind of looping around out there. Not a big deal right now. All those flood warnings, flash flood warnings in the Northeast, such a big deal there. Some of these are considerable threats, by the way, in these green boxes. They just don't look like that in this system. So what I was going to say, though, is towards Southeast Georgia, it's just interesting seeing stuff. A couple of these areas still a little impressive. Could still be issues for us, but other areas have decayed enough. We've seen cool air overtake much of the area. Not everybody. I see some stuff there around I-75. North of Adel. It's a little warmer up there still, so we'll have to watch to see some of that kind of fired up in this environment. But maybe we'll get lucky, and some of the stuff that came in earlier on, being early and often, kind of helps to kind of depress, I guess, but probably suppress is a better word there. The action in this type of situation. So Thomasville, Thomas County. Again, let's go ahead and go back over there now. Be interesting to see if we get a report on them in terms of a METAR observation over the next few moments. Be kind of interesting here again. Just thanks so much for tuning in, interest in me here on this Sunday afternoon. We appreciate you. I appreciate you tuning in here to the coverage. So let's go ahead and say you guys what we're dealing with right now. We're Thomasville. Again, there's some of that wind, and probably get at least some type of number on the METAR, though, as we alluded to. If I don't see too much too soon, I'm hoping I can wrap it up. Wrap it on up here. That'd be great if we could. Again, just checking everything. I see over 40,000 customers in the dark in Louisiana right now, according to PowerOut.us. Some of that stuff. We saw the Ward Arkla text moving toward the Ward Arkla mist. Kind of a storyline there. Power outages in Missouri coming back up. I know we've had some issues lately there. In Florida now, power outages over 7,000 customers in the dark, according to PowerOut.us. It's seen a jump there. Over 2,000 in Leon, according to that aggregate map. 395 in Gadsden. 93 in Hamilton. 174 in Swanee. Some of these are downstate, like, it looks like Martin County, but you kind of get the idea. Few in Putnam County as well in the dark. And then in Georgia, let's see what we have. Let's check that Mitchell EMC there. Or Grady EMC, excuse me, not Mitchell EMC, but Grady EMC. I mean, I think it does cover Mitchell a little bit. They call it Grady EMC there. Just not seeing a whole bunch of outages on that at all, which is some good news. Definitely some good news there in this type of situation. I'm trying to give you guys the latest here. Again, if I don't see too much more, I'll be wrapping it up here pretty soon. Doesn't mean I will, because things can always quickly escalate in a different area even. Or doesn't mean I'll have to come back later on. But again, thanks so much for tuning in, trusting me here. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. No, YouTube. You can watch the Clouds Weather, that handle Clouds Weather. The live video there will be on that page once you go to that. And then another way is just search for meteorologist Casey Cloud in the search bar there. Once you are watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button there. You get that notification when we come on here, especially when you have that set though in play. It's not all just about hitting subscribe, because with live videos, sometimes you might not get things till later unless you make sure you get all the notifications by hitting that bell icon when you're in there and making sure you have it set for all. So important to keep that in mind here as well. As we continue to watch things, continue to track things here. You can also back things up on YouTube. If you heard me say something and missed a word, you can just kind of back it up and see what I said on there versus other platforms. It's a little harder there. You have to wait until after the fact here with the coverage in general. But you do have me also on Facebook, Casey Cloud Everybody Acts, Facebook Cloud Weather, Twitter at Cloud Casey. There you have Twitch there, Clouded Weather, and you have Clouded.com, and you have that radar tab for an interactive look at things. When we're not on the air or on the air, you can look at things. If I'm not looking at the area you want me to look at, you can ask me to try to move things around. But so if I don't see it or don't end up doing that, you can just go there and move the map around and move a map around yourself. New advisory for Camden. We're watching stuff over there. Let's move the map ourselves over that way then. Showing storm acts in there, the word Camden. They're telling us here that near the coast, gusts up to 50 possible there. Through a little bit of a weak rotation on this too, but nothing overwhelming. Gusts up to 50 down near Keens Bay base with southeast at 20 miles an hour. St. Mary's, Queensland, Keens Bay base, Cumberland Island, and Harriet's Bluff. So again, just gonna go ahead and go back on over now to our other views. Let me go ahead and see what we have. Thomasville, Thomas County. Again, it could always be delayed reports too. We've talked about that before, but I'm seeing a whole bunch there right now in terms of the reporting, correlating stuff here in Crawfordville, vicinity. The worst getting off the coast now with some of this wind, but some of it's still hanging around there, around area there, east side, St. Mark's maybe. I mean, you even see with the heaviest rain, I mean, it's still kind of over town, but I mean, the wind here, it seems like that leading edge here is where the wind is pushing more, so kind of interesting to keep in mind. So as you look at a little bit of a displacement, that can sometimes affect some of the winds not getting down quite as much. When you have the winds out ahead a little bit, you look at velocity, think the storm should be a little bit over, and it's not. Sometimes you're only getting towards the wind or leading edge, but again, stronger storm acts in here. Again, St. Mark's will be getting out of the worst of the heaviest rain here soon, but the worst of the wind, the combination already kind of pushing on by. So that's kind of the storyline there. Thomas County, this warning still goes for another, it looks like 17 minutes or so. Not seeing much there. We may get a site report pretty soon on the METAR. I mean, that's 84 degrees, and honestly, it's to get one any second now. I'm only seeing winds about 30 to 40 on radar. Feel like we're not going to get anything overwhelming there. So let's go ahead and start a wrap then. And we're watching stuff up toward Missouri as well. Not something we'd have to be on for. It's not really that big of a national story, but quite a few warnings. Same toward the ARCLA. Text there had quite a few issues there as well. So it's kind of interesting to see how things are going now, impacting things on a Sunday afternoon around St. Louis. And then you have stuff here that are pretty quiet in terms of those conditions there. Oklahoma City, but then you get out here toward the ARCLA text, you have areas there, El Dorado there, and so then Arkansas, for instance, some severe weather warnings in play there, and Monroe's right here on the edge as well. Just got a new advisory for Charlton County and Ware until 5:30 now. If it's this area right here, which it probably is, I'll have to look, but I mean, you're starting to get a little bit of enhancement there. Let me double check. Let me go ahead and check here. Yeah, I bet it's that area. We'll have to watch it. Nothing overwhelming, but we'll have to watch it there. Yeah, that's what it is. So we're watching things there. Just around 40 possible, mainly rural areas though. That's good. Let's get back to Thomas. Don't see too much wind on there. Okay, we just got a gust now report, 29. That's about what we were thinking then. That general range there at the airport. It doesn't always work like that, but so far that's what we've got in there, and you think the leading edge has the strongest. So yeah, that may prompt them, if we don't get any reports here soon, to drop this warning then, unless we get something to really escalate on us here quickly. So we're going to wrap it. Thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. If we need to jump back on, we will. We'll keep watching things. We'll keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. Now, again, we're on YouTube there at Clouded Weather. I know that's a great source of the weather information here from me on that platform. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have all the notifications turned on there. Go onto that bell icon so we're able to give you the latest. And then if we sometimes have a situation that doesn't require me, excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice, but if a situation that doesn't require me to be on here, then I'll go ahead and post their Facebook, Casey Cloud WX. They're on that platform, Facebook Cloud Weather, Twitter at Cloud Casey. Those are some resources there to keep in mind. So let's go to the broad view. That's going to do it for now. We'll be watching, we'll be tracking it at Interactive Radar, available cloud.com/radar as well. So something else to keep in mind. If we have more warnings, we'll let you know here whether it's by coming on all the different platforms or just posting about it on the ones we were just talking about there, Facebook and Twitter. Just also whenever thunder roars, go indoors.